The hockey market is cold. We're back. Quick video, guys. Just going to go through this. Something that sort of intrigued me over the last little while is obviously the collapse in price, but how many players are actually have a young gun under $200? So we're using market movers as per usual, and the currency, keep in mind, is in USD, as that's how we get the data. But we're going to have a look at the cards that are over $200. How many young guns are over $200? The answer, as far as market movers has in here, is 50. There isn't a Datsuk in here, so Datsuk would be over that as well. But what I think is important to note is most of it is relatively explainable. And the biggest part of that is you have the cream of the crop. You have the best of the best players. So we take a look at Jeff Carter here. Maybe not a guy you think who would be in here, but he's a pop 100, and he had a last sale at $224. So just over that $200 mark. Another outlier here, we got Jesper Bratt. Now Jesper Bratt, again, explainable. I think this is a pop 26. Can't buy this card on eBay right now because there's none listed. So along with Jesper Bratt's play, totally makes sense why he is over the $200 mark. If we keep going down the list, we got Cale Makar. We'll get back to Nick Suzuki, but he hasn't been below $200 since 2020, and he's been above that ever since. He's a pop 640, keeps going up, but he's obviously on fire this year. Also has the Montreal market supporting him, and up at $437 for the last sale. So makes sense to me. But if we keep looking at the list, and Jack Campbell here is a pop 40, but if we keep looking down the list, you're going to sort of see the guys you would expect: Kucherov, Vasilevsky, Zibanejad, Alish Hemsky, pop 14 on that, 110 on the Zibanejad, Tuukka Rask, John Tavares, Evgeny Malkin, Duncan Keith barely holding at the $202 mark. He's likely going to fall below that, I would think. We got Austin Matthews there, Brent Burns, Patrice Bergeron, Nicholas Backstrom, Steven Stamkos, Claude Giroux, Victor Hedman. I don't have to name all these guys. We got Sid and McD. Bo Horvat, another one that is known, just a really short print run, pop 89. So he's holding over 200. But the point being is that these players are sort of the best of the best. All the guys who you would expect to be over $200 are on this list. And then it sort of brings me to the next point, which is like, okay, so we like speculating and buying, these guys and whoever that player is that we believe in. And I think a lot of people get lulled into this idea that my player could be the next, Leon Draisaitl. And in all likelihood, they can't. Most players just aren't going to be that good. The players who are will know in a year or two in terms of the kids who are out here. So, we have Trevor Zegras here, who's another outlier, I would say, at $305. And if we take a look at Zegras' graph, in the last 180 days, he's down 30%. But if we take a look back to season start, we can see he's pretty much dead flat, minus 10%. But another guy, I think, who's just going to find his way moving down, especially as his pop continues to go up. So I would consider Zegras an outlier. Doesn't belong on this list yet. It's not a slate on Zegras, although I did watch Zegras play last night, and it was, just had some notes. Not super high on him. Caulfield, I am a lot higher on. Montreal market, same as Suzuki, holding his price. It's not coincidence that you have Caulfield and Suzuki with a good dollar amount. They're both playing really well and helping to hold their price. Not increase their price, hold their price. Okay, so here's Suzuki, 60 days, pretty much dead flat. Almost exactly dead flat. So, he's having a great season and holding flat. Nick Suzuki, we'll have a look at him. 60 days, a couple good sales, really popped. He was actually down almost right at the $200 mark and has popped back. What's going to happen with him? I don't know. We will see. He has 10 goals in 17 games, I believe. Anyways, he only had 21 goals last year in the full season, so on a really good pace right now with the 10 goals. But again, the question gets back to, you have a player you want to speculate on. What's the limit? What's the ceiling? And I think that ceiling has completely dropped. I think it's a lot lower than most people think. They think they can buy a $130 young gun, PSA 10, and I'm using PSA 10s just to keep it simple. Buy that PSA 10 and it's going to go from $150 to $400 because a player performs. So player performance, first of all, hasn't driven price. a heck of a lot. The players who have moved up, it is performance based, but the incremental move up has been a lot lower than we've seen, especially the past 2 years. Let's take a look at Moritz Seider here. So Moritz Seider, I talked about him in a previous video saying to probably hold off and that you could find him below $150. I checked and that was actually on the 25th. So that was back here. He was at 222 and already about 3 weeks later, he's down at $125. Okay, so this isn't an I told you so. This is just the way that the market's going. And then you'll have people who say, well, Moritz Seider isn't playing very well this year. And it's like, fine. I would probably disagree. Do you mean more from a output perspective? The amount of points that he's putting up? And it's like, okay, like that's valid. So he's not getting points. So his card price is going to go down. So let's take a look at a couple guys who I think are really comparable, who are both over a point per game. And we can see here, since the season started, we have Adam Fox, who is down 9%. And we have Quinn Hughes, over a point per game as well, down 33% since the season started. Okay, so if you want to make the case that it's his production that's holding the price down, we have a couple of examples right here, which sort of show that that is not true. And Adam Fox, starting price 207. Yeah, I'm sorry. His last sale was 189. So he isn't in the $200 club right now. Will he get back there? I don't know. We'll see. It's, really incremental differences there. Next guy we'll take a look at, Jack Hughes. Let's see what Jack Hughes is doing this year. I think another really interesting one. It's like, if they put up the points, they're going to see value increase in the card, right? So we have Jack Hughes this year with 16 games played, 7 goals, 18 points, 21 years old, probably a card you would like to have, or you would have liked to have had at the start of the season, right? So what do we get from Jack Hughes? Well, from the start of the season, we lose 30%. We're down 30% on our Hughes investment, and he's played, I would argue, about as well as he possibly could. Next guy we'll take a look at, Mikko, absolutely on fire for star of the week. Obviously had a nice little jump here, 140, a 120 sale, and then a sale up at 155 USD. And it's like, okay, so production just isn't cutting it, right? Last guy we'll take a look at to illustrate this point is Trevor Zegras. Again, same sort of deal. I think playing as well as he could, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points in 16 games. And what do we get from that? We have a card that is down 10%. I'm not sure he could have done much better. And this, again, I believe is just more market condition than everything. And at the end of the day, the real point that I'm trying to get across is that if you're spending your money and buying these things, you want to be realistic with what that ceiling is right now. If you're willing to hold for 3, 4, 5 years and think, Zegras is going to be the next whoever, then, you do you. And I understand that. But in the short term right now, I think that the ceiling for these guys is really low. So just really think about that before you spend your money. Guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Hit that like button, subscribe. We'll check you.